So my best friend of almost 10 years just cut me off like a few weeks ago because I was told that their girlfriend is not comfortable with our relationship. So he's tired of arguing with her and he wants peace in his relationship. So he's gonna cut me off. Now, before y'all go getting y'all britches up y'all ass, our friendship has never been nothing but platonic, and he has hundreds of girlfriends, not just one. I'm not even the one he see in person or like in a lot of the pictures at all. It's a lot of them other bitches. But I get it. The thing that just kind of bothered me is when I had my girlfriend and she didn't like you, nigga, I just dealt with the consequences. But when the shoe's on the other foot, you want to cut me off and then tell me you hope it don't affect our relationship. It absolutely will. It absolutely will. What the fuck is up? What the fuck? How was you cook?
So I wanted to respond to this video real briefly because she touches on something that I think is actually a lot more common in Black love, Black relationships, especially when you start talking about marriage and trying to build a family, and that is boundaries. Unfortunately, because a lot of Black Americans did not grow up in healthy two-parent households with marriages, seeing healthy interdependence and just a strong family system, there's just a lot of people who I think just make stuff up. And when they try to build from the ground up, when they try to get in a long-term relationship, build their own family and figure out what that is, like they pretty much have to start from scratch because they didn't see that in their own family. Like they did not see an example of what healthy boundaries look like. So with that said, I am a firm believer that once you are in a long-term relationship and that relationship is starting to gear towards marriage, something serious like that, you don't really have a need to be having best friends of the opposite sex. Like me personally, I don't think you need to do that. Maybe like you and your spouse or your potential spouse or whatever, maybe y'all can develop a relationship with that person as a couple, or that person and their girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse, whatever. But like you trying to get in a relationship with a man, and again, I'm talking about from a woman's perspective, right? You're trying to get in a relationship with a man, grow closer to him. You guys are, joining in vision and insight and just, trying to build a life together. And then you got other competing female voices. I feel like that can just honestly be a distraction. Like I really, really, really do. And this is an issue that comes up a lot when you have single people who are having all these like platonic relationships with people of the opposite sex. I really think it becomes a conflict of interest because at the end of the day, I don't know any heterosexual man out there who was going out of their way to remain friends with a woman long term that he thinks is unattractive or that he can't get something out of. Like, let's just be honest. Like, heterosexual men literally don't really like being around unattractive women like that. They really don't. And again, I can't speak for every man, but most men are not trying to be around women that they don't find attractive or they can't get something out of. So like, even if you're like in some friend zone or y'all been on some friend zone for a long time, like best believe a man is getting something out of a platonic relationship with a woman or vice versa. Like, for some men, it's like they may be friend zone, but if at any moment the woman was like, hey, like, I want to have fun or take it to the next level, like they wouldn't turn that down. And it's the same way with women who will keep all these platonic guy friends around them, but don't ever really want to go, like with the next step, but then kind of want to keep them just on the back burner while they get in their own relationships. Like there's something that they're getting from that male attention. Now, her in this video, it sounded like she said it sounded like she is a lesbian or maybe bi, like she's dated girls, because she talked about how when she got in a relationship with a woman and that woman was having issues with her relationship with her male friend, she didn't cut that down. So it sounds like she might go both ways or whatever, or as far as her sexuality. But just nevertheless, my bigger point is when you are trying to get in a relationship with somebody and that is trending towards marriage and something serious, it is a conflict of interest when you start to have all these other voices and start to have all these other perspectives, ultimately trying to vie for attention or trying to be like that number one voice. Okay. And so that's where I can understand, like, if a man is getting serious with a woman, even if that man had all these girlfriends or all these friends that he was quote unquote, friends with, which I could understand why, if he, out of respect for that relationship and what he's trying to do, while he might have to keep some strong boundaries around that. Because look, who's to say? Like, who's to say? What if he was, I don't know, around those girls because they were sleeping together at some point, or they kind of had a sexual relationship in the past, or he was flirting with them, or whatever. Like, at the end of the day, like, there's not really a reason for a man to be having all these girlfriends that are platonic friends, especially if they're heterosexual, because there's going to be a conflict of interest. Best believe there's going to be a woman there who's going to want to have that level of influence over his girl. If it's like, oh, I've known him longer, or I've been with him 15 years, you only been with him in 2 years, like that, it's just so easy for that to happen. So I think it is really important when people get in relationship and they start becoming serious, that they have really strong boundaries around those relationships. I don't agree. I don't believe in a married man or a man in a serious relationship still having all these numbers with his girlfriends of the past that are not platonic, but they had a sexual relationship, or they used to have chemistry or whatever. Because why? That's just temptation for, if your relationship goes through a hard time, or you guys maybe have a situation where you're not talking like that, or you're not getting along, which relationships can go through that season. Now he may be tempted to go look back on his phone, or to go look back on his IG, or to go talk to one of his platonic friends and vent to that girl. And then now she's talking to him and trying to influence him. And y'all, it's just a mess. It is a mess. So I'm saying, like, I understand that sometimes we don't really understand healthy boundaries in the Black family like that, because a lot of us didn't grow up seeing like healthy marriages and what that looks like, what boundaries look like, and how men and women, or how a married couple, how a serious couple will protect the sanctity of their bond. The kind of information they will share with other people, the kind of boundaries that they will keep as far as friendships. Like, some of us haven't seen that, but it's really important to note that that is necessary to actually keep and maintain a long-term relationship. So I think what the girlfriend did was totally and completely right. I think she had every right to let her boyfriend know that she was not cool with him having all these female acquaintances, especially if their energy was off, or it seemed like those women were starting to try to conflict with her position, or conflict with, who that woman or who his girlfriend was in his life. He was right to do that. Like, if he was serious, that's what he needed to do. And I think in general, like, any woman or any man who wants to be in a serious relationship with a person, with a spouse that's going to lead to marriage and something long term, they have to be very clear. They have to set those boundaries and know that, like, no, we're not on the same level. Like, just because you were my best friend for 25 years, if you get a spouse, like, that spouse is taking first place. And we may have to have some clear boundaries around what this relationship means moving forward. To me, that's what it is, because it's like, friendships are good and relationships are good, but they're not on the same level as, like, you getting together and building a life. You guys are sharing a life together. You guys are sharing dreams, legacy. You guys are talking about future generations. Like, that's hard work, that's serious work, and you don't want to have a whole bunch of different conflicting interests. You don't want to have 5 or 6 or 10 or however many girlfriends, however many outside friends. You don't want to have those other people just confusing the process that ultimately that man and that woman have to come into agreement with and build. So yes, I can understand this lady being frustrated and not understanding, but I do think that this is ultimately the kinds of hard decisions that need to be made when someone really wants to be serious about marriage. Anyways, y'all, that is what I have. What do you think? Do you agree or do you disagree? Let me know what you think down in the comment section. Thank you so much for listening if you've gotten this far, and we'll talk later. Bye.